In the middle of a crowded Lagos neighborhood stood a small barber shop. Nothing special at first glance, just two worn waiting chairs, a mirror that had seen better days, and a wooden cabinet stuffed with combs, creams, and faded posters of celebrity haircuts. Yet what made the place remarkable wasn't the decor, but the man behind the clippers, a gentle soul everyone affectionately called Dammy. Though his real name was Babatunde Obaisai, a man whose constant smile, polite tone, and unbelievable prices quickly made him the most trusted barber in the area. So much so that parents brought their children without worry and teenagers proudly showed off his precise fades. And in a city where the cost of living seemed to choke families daily, his 500 naira children's cuts and 1,000 naira adult trims felt like a blessing too good to ignore. And so day after day the shop hummed with life, laughter, and chatter, becoming less a business and more a heartbeat of the community. But beneath the friendliness and the trust, something darker lingered, something no one imagined until one ordinary week began to unravel everything. For it started with the silent figure of a woman, well-dressed, in her 30s, who appeared one morning across the road and stood perfectly still, not joining the line, not asking for service, just watching the barber shop with unsettling patience like a statue rooted into the ground. And while customers whispered among themselves, "Who is she? Why is she standing there?" Dammy pretended not to notice, sweeping floors, oiling clippers, cracking small jokes. Yet in truth his eyes flicked to her reflection in the mirror again and again, his heart beating faster, because he knew that stare carried danger, and the quietness of her presence was heavier than words. A few nights later at a birthday party, while music blared and laughter echoed, it was his wife Janet who unknowingly cracked open the door to his secret, for she was usually the quiet, respectful type. But that evening she drank more than usual, and in the circle of women trading gossip, she let slip a careless sentence. "People think my husband is just a barber. If only they knew," which immediately set the women giggling and pressing for details, though Janet waved her cup and said it was nothing. But among them sat the same mysterious woman from across the street, whose name was Jessica, and her ears caught that phrase like fire catches dry wood, sparking questions that would not rest. 3 mornings later, Dammy arrived at a shop not to find his usual crowd of cheerful customers, but a tense gathering, familiar mothers clutching children, suspicious strangers, young men with folded arms, and at their center Jessica, who stepped forward with eyes like burning coals, and said in a voice sharp, "Enough to slice air, show us where you keep the hair," words that froze everyone. For in that instant the atmosphere shifted from curiosity to accusation, and though Dammy tried to laugh it off, saying hair was thrown in the trash like every barber did, the crowd silence told him denial would not save him. And when they finally marched to his house and forced Janet to unlock the back room, what they saw silenced even the loudest mouths. Bags upon bags of human hair, carefully sealed and labeled with names and dates. A collection that turned trust into betrayal in a heartbeat. And as curses rang out and police were summoned, Dammy's past, long buried, began to surface, for before the shop and before the smiles, he had been just another weary bus conductor hanging onto rickety yellow buses, shouting for passengers while hunger gnawed at his belly. And it was during one of those hopeless nights that he met Joe, an old childhood friend transformed into a wealthy man who introduced him to a secret trade, the sale of freshly cut human hair to shadowy buyers who treated it as more valuable than gold. And though Dammy resisted at first, the sickness of his mother and the crushing hospital bills left him desperate enough to accept Joe's money, his clippers, and his instructions, convincing himself it was harmless since he wasn't killing or stealing, only sweeping what was left behind after a haircut. But as time went on, the quiet trade grew. A van came every week to collect the bags, the shop expanded, the prices stayed low to lure more heads under his clippers, and the community unknowingly became part of his supply chain, until Janet's drunken words and Jessica's determination brought it all into daylight. And in the weeks that followed, the police trial revealed not ritual killings, but links to cyber fraud, proving that hair was being used in scams and strange manipulations. And though many struggled to understand how something so ordinary could fuel something so dark, the judge's gavel fell with a sentence of 12 years, while Janet, stripped of glamour and speaking in a flat voice, explained she revealed the truth because she was tired of sleeping beside evil, and though new barbers later opened shops in the area, people never forgot the story of Dammy the gentle barber whose kindness masked a dangerous trade, a tale that still lingers in whispers whenever scissors snip or clippers buzz, reminding everyone that desperation can lead people down paths where even the simplest things, like strands of hair, carry shadows deeper than anyone expects.